Rafe Thorne lived alone for so many years that even the birds on his small border planet seemed to forget he existed. His farm sat in a wide valley surrounded by dusty mountains, long grasses, and rusty fences that the wind pushed and pulled every day. When he woke each morning, he heard only the hum of old machines, the creak of wooden beams, and the soft voice of the ancient farm drone that followed him around like a loyal pet. He did not choose loneliness at first. Life pushed him toward it. A long time ago, he had a family. Parents, siblings, and neighbors who lived in a close human settlement on this same planet. But during the war between humans and the Apache, everything changed. The Apache were not like humans. They had glowing markings on their skin, strong honor codes, and deep spiritual beliefs. They fought fiercely, not for territory, but for pride and tradition. Many humans feared them. Many Apache feared humans even more. The war had ended years ago, but scars did not disappear easily. Rafe lost people he cared about, and after that, he stopped speaking much. He found comfort in the fields. Soil did not judge him, machines did not ask questions. He liked the routine. Wake up, water crops, fix things that broke, and sleep early. Every few months, he traveled to the nearest outpost for supplies. It was a small cluster of metal buildings, neon signs, storage crates, and noisy traders who came from many planets. Rafe usually kept to himself, bought what he needed, and returned home quickly. But one day, something unusual happened. Something that changed the direction of his quiet life. He arrived at the outpost with his old vehicle rumbling like it might fall apart at any moment. People stood in small groups, whispering and pointing toward a parked merchant ship. Their faces showed confusion, curiosity, and fear. Rafe almost ignored it, but the whispers grew louder. Is it really her? Impossible. They're all gone. The last Apache female? Why bring her here? Rafe stopped walking. He felt a strange pull in his chest, a memory or a feeling he could not describe. He heard the word Apache and thought of the war, the chaos, and a young human soldier trying to save a group of Apache children during the final evacuation. That soldier had been him. He approached slowly, unsure why. "Don't go near," someone warned. "She's dangerous." Rafe didn't listen. When he reached the merchant ship, he saw her. The Apache woman stood with her hands lightly bound, though she held herself straight as a spear. Her skin carried beautiful glowing blue markings that curved like natural patterns. Her dark hair fell over her shoulders, and her sharp silver eyes studied everything around her with suspicion and tiredness. She was alone, truly alone. Her tribe had escaped the galaxy years ago after losing many lives. Somehow, she had been left behind. Some traders wanted to turn her in for money. Others wanted to send her away to researchers or military forces. No one saw her as a person, only as a problem. Rafe felt something twist inside him. He saw not an enemy, not a threat, but someone who had also lost her people, her home, her chance at a future. She reminded him of what it meant to be abandoned. A trader approached him. "Want a look? She's the last of her kind here. We don't know what to do with her." The Apache woman raised her chin slightly. She did not look defeated, only tired of being watched like an object. "What is her name?" Rafe asked. The trader shrugged. "Calls herself Sierra. Doesn't talk much. We can sell her if you want." Rafe froze. "Sell? Well, not as property," the trader said quickly. "Technically, we're handing over responsibility. But let's be honest, whoever takes her will do whatever they want." Sierra's eyes hardened, and she looked away. Rafe felt anger rise in his chest in a way he had not felt in years. He remembered the Apache children he had saved during the war, the ones who cried, confused, and scared. He remembered how one little girl thanked him in her own language before being carried away by her people. That girl might have been Sierra. He didn't think much longer. I'll take responsibility, he said quietly. Everyone around him went silent. You? The trader asked, confused. A farmer? Rafe nodded once. He handed over the required credits. It emptied nearly all his savings for the month, but he did not care. Sierra looked at him with shock, suspicion, and something painful in her eyes. Why? She asked in a soft voice filled with distrust. You shouldn't be treated like this, he said simply. That was all he could say. The journey back to his farm was awkward and silent. Sierra sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window, her expression calm but her eyes sharp, ready to defend herself if he tried to harm her. Rafe tried not to make her uncomfortable. He kept his distance and focused on driving across the dusty terrain. When they arrived, she stepped out slowly, studying the farm, the mountains, the sky, everything. She seemed unsure why a human would bring her here instead of turning her in for rewards. Rafe showed her a clean room. This is yours, he said. You can rest. Sierra frowned. You do not bind me or lock the door? No, he said softly. You're not my prisoner. She stared at him for several seconds as if trying to decide whether he was lying or simply foolish. Slowly, she stepped inside. The next few days passed in strange silence. Rafe respected her space, and Sierra explored the farm carefully. She watched him from a distance, trying to understand him. He gave her food without asking anything in return. He worked the fields while she wandered around the land, sometimes touching the soil and whispering something in her alien language. One afternoon, Rafe heard the sound of water running strangely. When he went to check, he found Sierra kneeling beside a broken pump. She held the metal pieces in her glowing hands, moving them with surprising skill. Within minutes, the water began to flow smoothly again. You fixed it, Rafe said, surprised. She stood, brushing off dust. It was simple, she replied. You humans overcomplicate machines. He smiled slightly. It was the first time she spoke without anger. That night, something unexpected happened. Rafe heard Sierra's voice calling him outside. When he went, she pointed at the sky. A strange, flickering light moved above the far ridge of mountains. That is not a natural signal, she said, her voice serious. Someone is scanning the valley. Rafe checked his old scanner. Could be raiders, he said quietly. They search for easy targets. Sierra turned toward him. Your farm is one. He exhaled slowly. I know. Sierra stepped closer, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. If they come, they will not spare you. And they will not spare me. Rafe nodded. We'll prepare. She looked surprised. You want to defend this land with me? It's my home, he said, and you deserve safety too. For the first time, her expression softened. Humans and Apache never stood together before, she whispered. Then maybe we'll be the first, Rafe replied. Later that night, when she returned to her room, Sierra sat on the edge of the bed, touching the small glowing patterns on her arms. She remembered the war, how humans and Apache fought fiercely. She remembered being a young girl, running through fire and confusion. And she remembered a human soldier lifting children into escape pods instead of shooting them. She remembered his face. She remembered his eyes. She realized something that made her heart beat faster. Rafe Thorne had saved her once before, and he did not even know it. Before she could decide whether to tell him, the sky flashed again. A stronger signal, closer this time. Raiders were not just scanning, they were coming. Sierra rose to her feet with a deep, steady breath. Tomorrow, everything in this quiet valley would change, and she and Rafe would face it together, even if they barely knew each other yet. The morning came with a strange, heavy silence. The air felt different, as if the valley itself sensed danger approaching. Rafe woke before the first light touched the horizon. He stepped outside, listening carefully. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Sira was already awake. She stood near the high ridge overlooking the fields, her glowing markings dim but steady. She turned toward him when she heard his footsteps. "They are near," she said. Rafe nodded. He had spent half the night checking his old drones and repairing whatever he could. They were outdated models, slow and rusty, but he hoped they would be enough. "What do they want?" he asked quietly. "Resources," Sira replied. "Food, water, parts, anything they can steal. Raiders do not care who they hurt." Rafe felt a chill run down his spine. He looked at Sira. "We can still hide. There are caves in the mountains." Sira shook her head. "They will search every place, and if they find only me, they will think you hid me. They will return again and again." Rafe understood. Running would solve nothing. He took a deep breath. "Then we protect the farm." For a moment, Sira studied him with unreadable eyes. "You are not a warrior," she said softly, "but you fight for what you love. That is rare." "I'm just tired of losing everything," he replied. Sira stepped closer. "Then today, we lose nothing." Together, they walked across the fields, planning quietly. Sira had sharp tactical instincts from her Apache heritage. Rafe knew the shape of every hill, ditch, and hidden path on his land. Their ideas fit together like pieces of a puzzle. Rafe activated his drones and set them along the ridgeline. Sira showed him how to adjust their sensors so the raiders would not detect them immediately. They scattered metal scraps to create false signals and confuse enemy scanners. Sira even climbed onto the roof of his barn and laid out a trap using old cables and solar panels. By the time the sun rose fully, the farm looked normal from the distance, but beneath the surface, it was ready. They waited near the main field, standing shoulder to shoulder without speaking. The first sound arrived as a low rumble, engines cutting through the air. Rafe's heart pounded. Sira's eyes narrowed, glowing brighter. 3 raider skiffs came into view. They were long armored vehicles with dark plating and mounted cannons. Dust lifted behind them as they moved across the valley floor like hungry predators. Rafe swallowed hard. "Here they are." Sira's hand lightly touched his arm. "Stay calm. They expect fear." The skiffs stopped at the entrance to the farm. A group of raiders stepped out. They wore rough armor and carried heavy weapons. One of them, tall, broad, and confident, walked forward with a grin. "Nice place," the leader said loudly. "We'll be taking it." Rafe stepped forward. His voice remained steady. "There's nothing for you here." The raider laughed. "There's always something. Water, food, or whatever creature you're hiding in your home." Sira stepped beside Rafe, her posture straight and calm. The raiders froze for a moment. They had not expected to see an Apache here. "Well, well," the leader said. "A rare prize." Sira's expression stayed firm. "I am not a prize." The leader smirked. "You will be once we're done." Rafe clenched his fists. "Leave now." The raider leader shrugged. "No." He raised his weapon. Sira moved first. She dashed forward with speed so fast the raiders barely saw her. She struck the weapon from the leader's hands and kicked him back into the dust. At the same moment, Rafe activated the first drone. The machine shot up from behind a crate and fired a bright warning beam across the ground. The raiders stumbled, shocked. "Attack!" the leader shouted. Chaos exploded across the field. Sira leaped between enemies with fluid movements, using the land's slopes and rocks to her advantage. The glowing patterns on her skin shone brighter with every motion, like living streams of energy guiding her strikes. Rafe controlled his drones from his wrist device, sending them swooping across the sky. Though old, the drones followed his commands with surprising accuracy. They fired stun pulses at raiders who tried to flank Sira or reach the farm buildings. 2 raiders tried to sneak through the side path, but Rafe knew that path better than anyone. He triggered a trap, A hidden cable stretched across two poles. It snapped upward, tripping them and knocking their weapons aside. Sira noticed and gave him a quick, proud nod before turning back to the fight. The raiders grew frustrated. They expected an easy target, not a coordinated defense. "Destroy the drones!" one of them shouted. A raider aimed a rocket toward the sky. Rafe's stomach twisted. If the drones fell, Sira would be alone. But before the raider could fire, Sira hurled a metal pipe with incredible force. It hit the raider's arm, making the rocket launch into the empty field instead. The ground shook with the explosion, but the farm remained standing. Rafe's respect for her grew even more. She fought with no fear, only purpose. But then something unexpected happened. One raider slipped through the chaos and rushed toward the house. Rafe realized he was going after Sira's room, maybe to trap her or steal something important. "I'll stop him!" Rafe shouted. He ran toward the house, heart pounding. Sira wanted to follow him, but two raiders blocked her path. She turned back, fighting harder. Rafe reached the porch just as the raider tried to break the door. With no weapon in hand, Rafe had only one choice: use his strength. He tackled the raider from behind, and both men fell to the ground. The raider was stronger, but Rafe refused to let go. He wrestled with him, grabbing the raider's arm to stop him from drawing a knife. The struggle kicked up dust, scraping Rafe's arms and burning his muscles. Finally, with one desperate push, he forced the raider's hand to the side, causing the knife to drop. Rafe punched him once, hard, and the raider collapsed unconscious. He breathed heavily, wiping sweat from his brow. "I'm too old for this," he muttered. Back in the field, Sira was facing the leader again. He had recovered from her first strike and now swung a heavy staff at her. She dodged, but he was strong and experienced. "You're alone," the raider leader growled. "Your people abandoned you." Sira did not flinch. "I am not alone." She glanced toward Rafe. He stood near the house, bruised but standing firmly, drones buzzing behind him. Something fierce lit within Sira's eyes. She moved faster than before, stepping inside the leader's guard and striking with a powerful blow to his shoulder. He stumbled, shocked at her strength. Rafe activated the final drone. It swooped down, blinding the leader with a burst of light. Sira took the chance and kicked his weapon away. The leader fell to his knees. The remaining raiders saw their leader defeated and panicked. They ran back to their skiffs, shouting to retreat. Engines roared as they fled across the valley, disappearing into the mountains. Silence returned slowly, like a blanket settling over the land. Rafe collapsed onto a crate, breathing heavily. Sira walked toward him, her steps slow from exhaustion, but steady. "You should sit," she said. "I already am," he replied, trying not to laugh. Sira knelt beside him. "You fought well. You saved your home." He shook his head. "We saved it." Sira looked at him for a long moment. Her silver eyes softened with something warm, something new. "Humans surprise me," she said quietly. "Sometimes we surprise ourselves," Rafe replied. She touched her glowing markings gently. "During the war, I saw a human soldier help Apache children escape. He carried them through smoke and fire. He risked his own life to save lives that were not human. Many did not believe that story. They said no human would do such a thing." Rafe stared at the ground. "I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. I just couldn't leave them." Sira's voice softened. "You were that soldier." He nodded slowly. Sira placed a hand on his arm. "You saved me once without knowing who I was. You saved me again today." Rafe felt something shift inside him, something he had not felt in years. "You saved me too," he said. For a long moment they sat together while the wind moved through the fields. As the day passed, they repaired what the raiders damaged. Sira helped lift fallen beams. Rafe fixed the drones with her guidance. They spoke more than they had in all previous days combined. By evening, the farm was quiet again. The sun painted the sky orange and gold as it dipped behind the mountains. Sira stood on the porch looking out over the land. Rafe joined her. "This place is peaceful," she said. "It was," Rafe replied, "and it will be again." Sira nodded. "I will stay, if you allow it." Rafe felt warmth spread through his chest. "I'd like that." She smiled, a small smile, but real. It was the first time he saw it. In the days that followed, news of their battle spread through the valley. Traders whispered about a human farmer and an Apache warrior who stood together and forced raiders to retreat. No one dared approach the farm with ill intentions again. Rafe was no longer the man who lived alone for years. Sierra was no longer the last Apache left behind. Together they created a new beginning, one where fear did not rule, where old wounds slowly healed, and where two lost souls found strength in each other. And in the valley, people began to say that a new legend had been born, a story of courage, unity, and hope, led by a farmer and the last Apache woman who chose to stay by his side.